reached the half-hour mark on Radio Thailand's news hour.
This is HSK9, Radio Thailand World Service, broadcasting from Bangkok for listeners in Asia and the Pacific, the Middle East and Africa, Europe and America. It is now time for our broadcast in English for listeners in Europe.
From the Public Relations Department of the Royal Thai Government, this is Radio Thailand News.
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Today is Thursday, October 1st, 2020, and this is Radio Thailand's Midday News Hour. I'm Grajang Wit.Tip.
And I'm Benjamin Bluchoptan.
Making the national headlines this lunchtime. The Office of the Private Education Commission will look into various complaints centering around teachers who harshly punish their students. Meanwhile, the National Health Security Office terminates contracts with an additional 108 community clinics in connection with fraud cases. And on the business agenda, the Bank of Thailand states that the special tourist visa scheme is unlikely to help with the Thai economic recovery this year.
Our featured Thailand in Perspective today is on Dr. Seri Nontasud from Thailand, elected to CESCR.
We'll now take a look at those top headlines and many more in detail.
National News.
And welcome to the Midday News Hour. First up in national news. According to the IQ Air website, the AQI in Bangkok this morning was green with average PM 2.5 levels, registering as excellent. IQ Air reported that the AQI or Air Quality Index for Bangkok logged an average of 29, indicating that air quality is satisfactory with air pollution posing little or no risk. The AQI is divided into 6 categories corresponding to a different level of health concern. These 6 AQI color indicators are green, yellow, orange, red, purple, and maroon, with green signifying good and maroon meaning hazardous. PM 2.5 levels in Bangkok, meanwhile, reach an average of 7.1 micrograms per cubic meter, in line with both the national safety threshold of 50 micrograms and the World Health Organization standard of 25 micrograms. The biggest impacts of particulate air pollution on public health is understood to be from long-term exposure to PM 2.5, which increases age-specific mortality risks, particularly from cardiovascular conditions. Particulate matter is emitted during the combustion of solid and liquid fuels, such as for power generation, domestic heating, and in motor vehicles.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has instructed the Office of the Private Education Commission to look into various complaints centering around teachers who harshly punish their students. Education Minister Nattapon Teepsuwan said the commission is focusing on 3 main issues, namely cases of physical abuse perpetrated by teachers, caregivers who attempt to teach despite lacking qualifications, and exorbitant education fees. According to the minister, teachers who hand out unjust corporal punishment to their pupils currently only face the possibility of warnings, probation, or taking part in behavioral adjustment programs. Furthermore, Minister Nattapon has assigned the Teachers' Council to examine the professional licenses and qualifications of educators in order to ensure that they are legally and mentally fit for the job. He added that caregivers without qualifications who try to teach children are considered in violation of ministry regulations. Nattapon said tuition fees must also comply with the rules and regulations. When asked about the possibility of closing down a school in connection with student abuse cases, the minister said that such a move may be too extreme, but assured that his ministry is seeking more appropriate measures to address the issue.
Now, in the healthcare industry, the National Health Security Office, or NHSO, has terminated contracts with an additional 108 community clinics in connection with fraud cases involving services provided to universal healthcare Gold Card holders. NHSO Secretary General Dr. Sakchai Ganjanawatana stressed that the reported cases were only in Bangkok, dismissing rumors that the Gold Card program was still valid. He also noted that there are some 2 million people using the universal healthcare scheme, with about a quarter of them in need of continuous treatment. The NHSO has addressed the issue by allowing them to receive treatments at any state-run hospital without the need for referral documents. Meanwhile, Jirawut Sukdai Pung, chairman of the committee investigating alleged overbilling by medical units, said investigations have found irregularities at about 180 community clinics. The committee has since submitted its findings to crime suppression for legal prosecution and will examine the motives behind the alleged fraud while looking for other irregularities.
And now the Phuket Provincial Administration has announced that it is ready to welcome international visitors with stringent disease control measures in place, as the government's Special Tourist Visa, or STV scheme, went into effect earlier today. Phuket Governor Narong Wunsiu, I think that's right, has announced that the province has prepared measures to welcome international visitors holding the STV by requiring all visitors to take a COVID-19 test upon arrival at Phuket International Airport, even with a medical certificate from their country of origin.